Imagine a rider stuck in mid-pack, suddenly grabbing pole position and winning in just one weekend. From the MotoGP paddock in Japan, reporters witnessed something remarkable. Francesco Bagnaia, the reigning champion who had been struggling throughout the season, made a spectacular comeback at the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix held at Mobility Resort Motegi. With whispers of technical dissatisfaction and setup issues lingering all year, the shift in performance was as dramatic as it was unexpected. Ducati, in a bold and quiet move, implemented changes to Pecco's bike, changes that have not been officially detailed but were clearly effective. The result? A record-setting pole lap and a powerful win in both the Sprint and Grand Prix. It wasn't just a fast bike, it was a reborn Bagnaia. But what exactly happened behind closed garage doors remains a mystery. As journalists, we dig deeper into what Ducati changed and how it could shake the title fight moving forward. Bagnaia entered the season carrying the weight of expectation. After securing 2 world titles, he was expected to dominate again. But reality hit hard. From early in the season, Pecco voiced concerns about the Desmos GP25. The bike felt disconnected, especially on the front end, with braking and turning becoming his biggest weaknesses. Ducati's engineers initially stood by the development path, but results forced a rethink. Races slipped through his fingers, and rivals like Jorge Martin and Marc Marquez began outshining him. Inside sources say Bagnaia requested a fundamental setup change, asking for elements that resembled last year's GP24. It was a risky move. Some saw it as a step backwards, but with the title slipping away, Ducati needed a jolt. Motegi was chosen as the testing ground, and what happened next began to write a new chapter in Bagnaia's season. Ducati took 1 step back to launch 2 steps forward. Leading up to Motegi, Ducati quietly introduced major alterations to Bagnaia's bike. These weren't just tuning adjustments. Reports suggest a hybrid configuration that blended the DNA of the GP24 and GP25 machines. Aerodynamic tweaks, frame adjustments, and even electronics calibration were redone to match Bagnaia's aggressive braking style. The factory remained silent on specifics. When asked post-race, Bagnaia cryptically said, "Some things that didn't work before now feel really good." The paddock buzzed. Was this a setup revolution or a lucky break? Ducati engineers insisted it was a calculated compromise, returning to what Bagnaia knew best while still integrating the best of the current model. Whatever the recipe, the dish served in Japan was scorching. But the question lingers, can this formula survive beyond Motegi? Bagnaia's weekend in Motegi was pure dominance. He topped FP1, stormed to pole with a lap time of 1:42.911 and controlled both the Sprint and Grand Prix races. The contrast with his earlier races was staggering. Gone were the mid-corner hesitations and braking doubts. Pecco was sharp, confident, and aggressive. His racecraft reminded many of his 2022 2023 title-winning form. Observers in the paddock noted the shift in his demeanor. He seemed lighter, freer, more connected with the bike, and the bike itself appeared to handle transitions, tire wear, and corner entry with newfound fluidity. Clearly, something had clicked, but insiders also hinted that Ducati didn't just fix the bike, they revitalized their rider. A mentally recharged Bagnaia might be just as dangerous as a technically refined one. Still, success in one race doesn't guarantee consistency. When the bike feels right, the rider becomes unstoppable. Mechanics and insiders shared that once Bagnaia regained trust in the front end, his entire style shifted. He could brake later, commit earlier, and conserve tires better. The data showed smoother lap times and more consistent throttle application. But this wasn't just about telemetry. Bagnaia's body language was different. He was smiling more in the garage, joking with the team, and showing the confidence that had been absent since Qatar. Ducati, in return, put full faith back in him as their #1 man. This psychological boost matters. In MotoGP, where races are won by milliseconds, the mental edge often defines the champion. Rivals now admit they are once again watching Pecco. But was this resurgence circumstantial or foundational? That remains the defining question heading into the next rounds. This wasn't just a parts swap, it was a philosophical pivot. Ducati's success in Motegi wasn't the result of a single change, but a layered strategy that combined engineering precision with human intuition. The team integrated some chassis and electronic elements from the GP24 while refining the power delivery curve to better suit Bagnaia's corner entry aggression. They also realigned the aero package to reduce drag and improve braking stability. But more importantly, they handed Bagnaia the reins. Unlike earlier races where feedback was funneled into rigid engineering channels in Motegi, Bagnaia's preferences were prioritized. Engineers admitted to listening more, calculating less. The synergy between rider and machine, missing for months, was finally restored. This opened a floodgate of performance. The transformation wasn't purely mechanical, it was cultural. But one successful gamble raises another question. Will Ducati stick to this formula, or will they revert under pressure in different circuit conditions? One race win doesn't win a championship, but it can redefine one. Motegi marked more than just a race victory. It marked a strategic pivot for Ducati's 2025 campaign. Until then, their title defense had looked shaky. With Jorge Martin leading points and Marquez gaining momentum, Ducati needed a flagship moment. Bagnaia's resurgence reasserted the factory's authority. Analysts now speculate a potential internal strategy shift, placing Bagnaia back as the clear title focus. It also revitalized morale in the garage. Engineers, previously tight-lipped, are now cautiously optimistic. This shift also impacts Ducati's satellite teams. With a reinvigorated development blueprint, they too may benefit from a rebalanced Desmos Desai philosophy. However, success breeds scrutiny. The media spotlight is back, and expectations are surging. Can Ducati manage this pressure as the championship intensifies? That will define their legacy for 2025. Bagnaia's win didn't just shake his standings, it disrupted the entire paddock. Aprilia and KTM, both enjoying strong mid-season momentum, suddenly find themselves forced to reassess development strategies. Yamaha, in rebuilding mode, watches warily. More critically, Ducati's other golden weapon, Marc Marquez, now faces a resurgent teammate. Internal rivalry could fuel both riders or create strategic tension. Meanwhile, Jorge Martin's title bid is directly threatened. Analysts now consider the championship a three-horse race, where one silent weekend could flip the leaderboard. Engineers from competing teams admit they're studying Ducati's Motegi data closely. Copying setup, possibly. But mindset, that's harder to replicate. The real battle may no longer be horsepower, it may be psychological warfare. Motegi was a win, but what comes next will test the truth of it. As MotoGP heads into tracks like Mandalika, Phillip Island, and Sepang, the question is no longer can Pecco win. It's can he sustain it? These circuits present vastly different challenges: fast corners, high tire degradation, and unpredictable weather. Ducati's Motegi setup might need tweaking or complete overhaul. Moreover, the mental strain of leading a comeback adds pressure Bagnaia hasn't felt since 2022. The championship is now in sight, but one error, mechanical or mental, could derail it. Pecco's fans are hopeful and the team is energized, but seasoned insiders remain cautiously skeptical. The journey from revival to reign is long and filled with unknowns. The 2025 Japanese GP may go down as the turning point in Bagnaia's season, and perhaps his career. The team's bold decisions, the riders' renewed fire, and the stunning result combined to form one of the year's most compelling storylines. It's a reminder of what MotoGP is all about: evolution under pressure. Ducati showed they're not just a factory of machines, but of adaptability. Bagnaia showed he's not just a champion, he's a fighter. But as always, this sport rewards consistency, not just comebacks. If Pecco can build on Motegi, he could etch his name alongside the sport's greatest dynasties. If not, the spark may flicker out. One thing's certain, everyone's watching.